Good evening, Facebook subscribers. Come on in, come on in, come on in. This is Granny B from Georgia. How's everyone doing this evening? Come on in, subscribe. Let's chat for a while. Yes, yesterday we talked about IPV, intimate partner violence, and that resulted from an incident in Atlanta where a very beautiful 25-year-old teacher, elementary school teacher, was killed by her lover. So tonight we're going to just digress from that just a little bit, but perhaps we'll come back to that just a little later. But tonight we want to focus on anxiety. Anxiety. So I hope that we will have some very interesting and stimulating conversation tonight. Feel free to come out of your own personal experience or experience of others. And believe it or not, Granny B is going to be sharing some of the issues concerning her experience with personal experience with anxiety. So come on in and join us. Let's feel free to just talk about anxiety in our children, because it is believed that that's where anxiety starts from childhood. So come on in with us tonight and let's have some stimulating conversation. Okay, we're going to start off by talking about what statistics shows about adolescents and children anxiety. Okay, let's get started here. Statistics shows that 15 to 20% of children and adolescents meet the criteria for some type of anxiety disorder. Okay, statistics also shows that 1 in 12 children are affected by anxiety. Statistics also shows that and listen to this now, because we got another category of children. 1 in 4 adolescents have some type of anxiety disorder. So what we'd like to do now is just deviate a little bit from the statistics and start talking about what is anxiety. What is anxiety? Come on in, everybody. Let's have some fruitful conversation about anxiety and how it impacts our children in every realm of their lives. Come on in. So, anxiety is a state of being. It is characterized by the feeling of nervousness, apprehension, and the fear to worry, inappropriate responses in threatening situations. Okay. Anxiety becomes a problem for children as well as adolescents. Sometimes people like to say, oh, children are so resilient and children, they can bounce back. But sometimes we put too much burden on our children, thinking that they can carry all of these things, when actually sometimes adults cannot carry all of these things. I see Dr. J is joining me. Thank you, Dr. J, for coming in. It's so good to see you tonight. We're talking about anxiety. So we just said that sometimes parents overlook the fact that children are children, but children are little people who have not gone through the experience of an adult. However, can be impacted emotionally and psychologically by the same types of things that impact uh, adults and trigger anxiety. So we know that anxiety is an emotional state, of course. It's characterized with nervousness and apprehension and fear to worry about things. And also, anxiety can cause inappropriate responses in threatening situations. Okay. Now, anxiety can become a problem for children. One, children don't have the same type of coping skills that adults have. And apart from that, sometimes adults are not able to handle situations and things and people that provoke anxiety. So when we talk about anxiety, anxiety can just like pop up and it's gone. It might not show its ugly face again in a while. But then when anxiety becomes a persistent issue or an ongoing issue for children, then it's something that needs some attention. Yes, Dr. J is saying that anxiety is so prevalent within adolescents and adults alike. You're absolutely correct, Dr. J. Yes, it is. That's why we should not uh, make continuing open statements about children and their resilience and them being able to bounce back, because often adults are not able to bounce back from certain situations. So you are absolutely correct about that. See, the problem occurs though when the child's anxiety is persistent. It happens and happens, it's long going. Um, and then the anxiety then becomes or interferes with the child's everyday life as it intensifies. And that can be a problem because when the anxiety intensifies, it means that it can spill over and affect every realm of that child's life. And when we talk about the different realms and aspects of a child's life, we're talking about it can interfere with the child going to school. It can interfere with them talking to classmates, or it can interfere with them completing homework and homework assignments that can have negative impact on their progress in school. And Dr. J is saying that anxiety is so prevalent in adults alike. Yes, it is. Yeah, it is very, very prevalent among adults as well. So we're just going to continue to talk just a little bit. Come on in to Granny B's channel. We're talking about some good stuff tonight. Good stuff that impacts our families, our children, as well as our communities. Come on in and let's talk about anxiety. Share your personal experience. This is okay to share. This place, Granny B Station, is a safe place. So we can talk about a multiplicity of things. Okay. So we're going to just continue with the signs of anxiety. We're talking about not just feeling nervous about perhaps you got a test to take the next day, or you're going to have a very, very important job interview. These are kinds of anxiety that can be considered natural kind of stuff. You're anxious. You want things to go right or correct concerning an event or a situation. But when the feeling becomes intense, nervousness, apprehension, the fear of just worrying. If I worry, I know that I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep tonight. If I worry too much, am I crazy? What's going on with me? And then it's also characterized by rapid heartbeat and pounding heartbeats and palm sweats. So these are the kind of characteristics or signs that are notable in adults as well, but likewise in children. So as parents, teachers, clergy people, we have to pay close attention to our children, because children sometimes can be carrying some heavy loads that start to manifest itself in different kinds of ways. And them being angry and feeling unloved and so on and so on. So some children get sweaty hands. Oh, Jay, okay, Dr. J, you said that this is some valuable information. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is much needed information, because we as parents and we as a society need to just slow down and focus on what's going on with our little ones and our adolescents, slash teenagers, because in actuality, these children are sometimes carrying loads that grown people cannot carry well. Sometimes the children will they'll stop eating, or their appetite decreases, or they become very sluggish. They just want to lay around in the bed and just click those little fingers on the computer and just isolate themselves uh, from others. And sometimes when this happens, the negative thinking and the feelings when they isolate becomes even more intense. So these are all things and signs that we as parents or people who see our children on a regular basis, or either on an occasional basis, need to pay attention, because that child might be in crisis. Okay. So, oh, thank you, Dr. J. We thank you so much. Yes. Okay. So, we just want to talk about still, when children get in this state, they start having predictions of negative things. They may say, okay, I got to go in and take this test. And although I studied, I don't think I'm going to pass. I'm going to fail. I don't know. I don't know. But this is negative thinking, negative predictions of what if I do this, something negative is going to happen. So then we talk about some of the physical changes that a child might present when they're having ongoing and intense anxiety. I don't know, perhaps you all have heard the saying that says fight, flight, freeze, response. And an example of that fight is that if a child sees someone who might pose a threat, or they may think that person might cause a threat to them, they might physically push them away, or emotionally and mentally push them away. So these are kind of things that yes, okay. I just want to thank everyone for coming in, and we are having some good free I guess I would call it free fall conversation tonight about anxiety in our little ones and in our adolescents slash teenage children. So come on in and join Granny B coming from Georgia. Come on in, family. I'm so interested and anxious to hear what you have to say about anxiety. anxiety. That's what we're talking about tonight. And we'll probably carry this over to tomorrow as well. So, when we talk about, again, the child with anxiety, okay, in terms of recognizing that a child or an adolescent might be in trouble. And this is a good example. Um, if a child goes to a carnival and sees a ride or activity that might causes him to feel, uncomfortable, like sweaty hands, heart racing and stuff, the that's an example of flight. That child will not the child will not participate in any of the activities of the at the carnival when it involves riding something. He or she has this fear of going up, um, somewhere where there's height. So, that's something else that we need to look at as well. So, we want to talk about causes of anxiety. When people start having problems with hyperventilation, sweaty palms, and this can apply to adults as well. But it is said that anxiety can be, that people can be predisposed to anxiety due to their family history. And on a personal note, I like to say that, yes, I suffer, well, Dr. J. I'm being very candid here tonight, and I'm going to interject some of my experience dealing with anxiety. I've had problems dealing with anxiety from a child. Back in the day, parents didn't know what that was. If you cried, something was wrong with you, something physical was wrong with you, or you were angry, or something like that. So I've suffered with this issue ever since I was a child. And let me just tell you, my mom passed in 2004, and I just happened to be going through some of her medical records, and bingo, I found out that way back when I was a teenager or younger, my mom was taking medication from for anxiety. So that's just a little bit about my anxiety and the onset. And the onset was, for me, it was when I was a child, you know. So, another cause of anxiety is a chemical imbalance in your brain. And a lot of people, they see people who have different phobics, like they can't go out in public, or certain things impact them, certain situations, some people trigger them, and so on. And they say, but this person is acting just like they're crazy. What's wrong? And even if from a person who suffers from anxiety, it could be like, hey, Granny B, uh, are you able to hold this thing together? Or Granny B, just what's going on? What's going on? But I'm here to tell you that some situations involving anxiety, even with children and adolescents, it is caused by chemical imbalance in the brain. Come on in, guests. I'm waiting for you. This is a very hot conversation tonight. We are sharing, even Granny B is sharing some of her personal experience with anxiety. So just come on in. Come on in. I'm waiting to hear from you. Yes. So also, anxiety can be caused or triggered by the temperament of the child itself. So it just brings you back to the fact that with these signs of anxiety, um, there's just a feeling of unhealthy thought patterns. What's going to happen to me tomorrow? I can't see the rainbow in it. It's just black and white. My thought process, just um, thinking of the worst scenario, If I walk out this door, if I go to school this morning, the bus is not going to come. It's pouring down rain. I'm going to have to stand out here. I'm going to have to stand out here, and I'm going to be in the rain, and I'm going to get soaking wet. Yes, Dr. J, thank you for reminding me to ask my guests to come on in and subscribe and hit that like button, because this is some good stuff we're talking about here tonight. We need this stuff to help ourselves as well as our families and anyone out there, because it's a village. And we have to start helping our people to have an understanding, and so much like global, but an inner understanding of what's going on with us. Because sometimes we can see everything beyond us, see everything about our children that is really not so important as in terms of what is actually going on inside of them. That's important to know what is going on with your child, because I tell you, this anxiety can affect every aspect of their lives. So um it can manifest itself in children, even bullying, you know, and it can, and being in a bullying situation can lead to very negative consequences for a child who is bullying, or even the child who's being bullied. Because we can recall the situation where the young man stabbed someone who was allegedly bullying him. And that child, Camelo, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Dr. J, correct me on that young man's name, who has been accused of murdering this young man. But some of the information alludes to the fact that the victim had been the one who bullied the so-called perpetrator. The child who they're labeling as the perpetrator could have been suffering from anxiety, and his bullying could have made his anxiety set in. Because if you're constantly bullied, that could constitute a trauma for you, just as well as you witnessing maybe a parent bullying each other, or someone in the neighborhood. Something traumatic and tragic happens within your small circle, and you become traumatized because of that. So, again, just kind of like digressing a little bit, from what I'm saying, it's just like we have to guard our children. We have to monitor what goes in to their environment, and what to protect them from. So and I tell you something else, and I think this is going to be cause for some reflection here too. Come on in, YouTube subscribers. We are talking about some good stuff in here that could help us, pay more attention to what's going on with our children, expect our young ones as well as our adolescent teenagers, because they are all subject to be affected by anxiety. Now, from the family circle, which is the primary. Thank you, Dr. J, for typing his name in. So the young guy who has been accused of stabbing another person that led to the victim's death is Camilo Anthony. Thank you, Dr. J, so much. But who knows what Camilo was carrying, due to the fact that it has been alleged that the victim was or had been bullying Camilo. So we'll just have to see what happens in that situation. Um, so sometimes, you know, we have very, very high expectations of our children. We want them to succeed, but sometimes the anxiety, the expectations that we have of our children becomes too high for them to meet. The bar is set too high for them, and as a result of that, they become very, very anxious and develop some of these signs of anxiety. So we have to be careful about what we put on our children, and definitely we have to be very, very careful about being critical of them. Our role is to nurture our children, give them a good foundation, give them positive affirmations. You can do this, you can be this, you can, but still we have to be very careful that we're not putting too much on them in terms of having unrealistic expectations. So we're not going to be here very much longer, but I just want to talk about a few other aspects of anxiety that impacts children as well as adolescent teenagers. Okay, so let's talk about the kind of impact that I think I have alluded a little bit to the impact of anxiety on our children as well as our adolescents slash teenagers. But the impact could affect the child's development, the learning skills, and emotional well-being. It can affect the child's ability to retain information, because you're in school and something happens that trigger you and your heart starts to beat real fast and your palms get sweaty. I mean, and all kinds of negative thoughts are running through your head. Then how is that child or adolescent going to retain content that is being taught in the school, in the class? So it could virtually be impossible for them to hold on to content like they would if they were not experiencing these the impact of anxiety. Okay, anxiety also can affect the child's physical health. It can affect the child's physical health. So we've talked a lot. I talked a lot about anxiety and the impact on our children and adolescent teenagers. So let's look at some of the treatment. And first of all, because some of this treatment is right there in the family, in the primary family environment. Things that parents can do, things that we can do, parents, things that grandmas can do, grandpapas can do, daddies and aunts and uncles can do to try to inject some natural treatment to help to reduce the amount of stress that children might feel as a result of anxiety. Okay, and these are natural treatments. Okay, it is said that establishing a good, healthy food habit for your children is a good way to combat anxiety, because I know little children and like sweet stuff and sweet drinks, and teenagers and adolescents love cookies and chips and McDonald's hamburgers and so on, which are not good for us. But as parents, we need to monitor things that go to the best of our ability. Um, Kind of monitor what your child is eating and help them to develop good, healthy eating habits. Okay, we can provide a good social environment for our children. And I'll just give an example because, like I say, Dr. J, I need you to come on in and help me too. If you're still here, and I think you're still here, that sometimes Parents, they get burned out, they're tired, and they're going through their own personal issues, so on. But we have to be good in terms of supporting our children, because if we're not good, the children not going to be okay. Uh-huh. You remember this saying from the 60s, I'm okay, you okay? Well, I think it was the 60s or the 70s. This book, I'm okay, you okay. So if you want your children to be well adjusted, you're going to have to be okay. Okay. And have them grow up in a very nurturing and supportive environment. Supportive does not mean spoiling them, giving them everything they want, but letting them know that I am here for you. You can come to me, you know. And also teaching them coping techniques. That is very important because kids like children. I mean, adults, especially in this day and in this time. I think everybody is under a whole lot of anxiety and pressure about the changes that are occurring, the rapid changes that are occurring in this society, you know. So sometimes parents might not, they might be under gun as well as the children are, but we have to try our best to teach our children coping techniques. We have to teach them to listen. We have to teach them not to be rushed in making decisions. We have to teach them to lay everything on the table and look at them critically so they can make good decisions, so they will have good consequences. And that's some of the things that we can do to help our children. In this day, in this society, in this age, that children, a lot of kids they don't know anything about exercise unless they're in sports or dance or ballet or something at school, or it's an extra curricular activity for them. But kids don't get regular exercise like I used to get. But anyhow, regular exercise is good because it helps to offset anxiety. Balanced diet. We're talking about balanced diet. That is so important. A lot of people say that children shouldn't be drinking all these red and sugary drinks that they drink. Um, Chips and the salt and all these other condiments are not good for children. They need vegetables, they need fruits, um, and they need healthy snacks. So just putting that out there, some of this is granted B, and some of these are statistical kinds of information that I'm putting out there and sharing with you tonight. And the thing of it is, I guess the last one, and we can still go on with maybe some of these natural interventions that will help our children and adolescents with anxiety. But this is what I have for right now, and I think the last one. Well, I have two more. I think the last one. Um, Sufficient sleep, and I have one more. Sufficient sleep. Oh my God, adults don't get sufficient sleep, and I'm one of those, granny me, who doesn't get a proper amount of sleep. I work on that. I work on that. I even use a little rain music to help me calm down and just, slide into uh, that comfort stage so I can go to sleep. But I'm working on it. But we as parents and caregivers, we have to set boundaries for our children. Your 5-year-old should not be up at 12 midnight keeping you company. He or she needs to be in bed so they can get their proper sleep and be ready for a productive day the next day. And the last one, natural remedy I want to share circumventing anxiety or either curtailing it is this: children need to be in a stable, predictable environment. And I think that is a good one, because here we go again. People talk about how resilient children are. They're like a little ball. They bounce here, they bounce there, and wherever they land, they can recover. That is not true. That is not true. Children need stable and safe environments. They shouldn't be in a home where there's domestic violence or intimate partner violence, because, of course, what they see is going to impact them. What children live, they learn. So I hope that my viewers will come in and subscribe, and also be a part of this conversation that we are having tonight. I look forward to talking to you all again. We might add some additional information about the impact of anxiety on our children, teenagers slash adolescents. But for tonight, I think we're going to pause right here. And I would like to thank all of you who came in on my channel to share with me tonight. I hope that we both have gained some insight on the conversation of anxiety tonight. So I am going to sign off and say good night to everyone. God bless. Have a good night. And we will see each other again or chat tomorrow. Thank you.